of one of not only the most growing population in the country, but also the vastly changing Arctic and the concerns and the opportunities that we have in the 21st century. When we think about northern economic development, often people will think about natural resource extraction, the potential for mines, the potential for oil and gas. In a climate change context, in a changing world context, the opening of the Northwest Passage. In a very Canadian sense, the Canadian Inuit art economy and the fact that Inuit art is one of the chief exports, if you will, from our communities into southern Canada and the world. And then government, the idea that government really pushes a lot of economic development activity within our homeland because it is one of the dominant forces or when it comes to how people are employed, what business opportunities fall to Inuit communities. Government still plays a massive role in that. And in the development of Inuit Nunavut, especially we can close the infrastructure gap as was promised in the Liberal platform of this particular election by 2030. For our homeland, that means massive economic development opportunity. But we also can't have a monoculture of economic development activity. And one of the big challenges moving forward will be the ability to take advantage of Canadian opportunities and not just opportunities that are sequestered to government or natural resource extraction. And to do that, we're going to have to build infrastructure. So it is a circle. We will need investment in infrastructure, which will build economic development opportunities to take advantage of the wider economic development opportunities that exist in this country and in the world. We are on track, though, and we are mobilized to take advantage of these opportunities. Very recently, we created a National Inuit Development Corporation Association, and it's made up of the Inuvialuit Development Corporation, the Kitamute Corporation, Saku Investments Corporation, Kikitala Corporation, Makavik Corporation, and the Nunatsiavut Group of companies. So not only have we mobilized politically within our rights-holding organizations to represent people, we also have mobilized in the economic development sector, and we have created wholly owned organizations of our rights-holding structures that focus exclusively on economic development. And with that, we have built industries in a number of different areas, whether it be within construction or the fishery, in providing goods and services through a sea lift, the airline industry. Inuit own and operate many businesses that serve our population and also take advantage of economic development opportunities in our homeland. But we have huge challenges in being sustainable and making the most of those opportunities. And it starts with unreliable energy and also the lack of connectivity. 50 of our 51 communities are still on diesel. So we are run almost exclusively by diesel power within our communities. Only 2 of our communities have road access between the south and Inuit Nunavut, Inuvik and Tuktoyaktuk very recently. We only have a few of our communities that are connected through broadband technologies. So we are using outdated models for connectivity to run our business activities, but also our education system, our governments, and our health systems, and that all has huge challenges when it comes to taking advantage of the opportunities of the 21st century in Canada. We also have long-standing social issues that underpin the challenges moving forward. We have an overcrowding rate in our housing sector of over 50%. We have a life expectancy that's 10 years less than other Canadians. We have large challenges within mental health and suicide prevention, and we have education rates that are still almost the inverse of the Canadian education rates as far as graduation from high school and also post-secondary attainment. We are struggling to catch up, but if you consider where we've come from, it is quite remarkable where we are today and the resilience that Inuit have. Many of our communities were formed after World War II when the federal government took a more specific interest in Canadian Inuit communities, whether it be through an evolving sense of duty over healthcare delivery, or whether it be the concerns about sovereignty in a Cold War era, or just the changing nature of the country and how the federal government wanted to interact with Inuit. Those times are gone, and we are still working through those times. And in the past 4 years, we've heard a number of apologies by the federal government for human rights abuses from that era on Inuit. And that, I think, is a really powerful and important step towards reconciliation, but it is also a very practical step as well. If we want the best for our communities, if we want to be a part of this country and to feel as though we belong, then these sorts of exercises aren't just one-way streets. They are, I think, a collective reckoning of what has happened in this country to pave the way for a brighter future for all of us. So now that we have political mobilization within the Inuit community, we are able to identify our priority areas. We also now have a willing government to talk to. And the relationship piece can't be understated. The access that we have to federal ministers, to the ability to provide insight on Inuit Nunavut and our economic development priorities or any of our major priorities is unprecedented. It is now up to all of us, the Government of Canada, Canadian Inuit, and also Canada in whole in the political climate that we create collectively, to ensure that we take the best advantage of these opportunities. So in the last few years, there have been some major projects that have been championed by Inuit that are on their way, whether it be the Grays Bay Road and Port project in the western part of Nunavut, which would unlock not only goods and services, but more cheaply entering the western part of the Canadian Arctic, but also create a road structure for any potential natural resource project in that area, or the Kivalliq Hydro and Fiber project, which is a component of the Kivalliq Inuit Association, which would see Manitoba Hydro going into the central part of Nunavut and providing an alternative to diesel power generation, but would also connect high-speed broadband connectivity to that region as well. These are the types of projects that are nation building, and we have talked at length with the government about the Canadian Arctic, or Inuit Nunavut, this space being one of the last nation building exercises that Canada must partake in, to think of Canada in the way that Canada already thinks of itself, as an Arctic nation. We are the only Arctic nation without a university in the Arctic region of an Arctic country. ITK has also put forward a proposal for an Inuit Nunavut University, and hopefully within the next 5 years, we will do all the steps necessary to create that institution. Education does not then link directly with a workforce. It creates a way in which to see the world, which imagines the different disciplines of professional opportunity that exist within a society. And so we're hoping that that idea is the idea that pushes through and wins the day within this conversation about post-secondary. And it isn't that you don't get engineers and other very essential professionals to whether it be a government workforce or a mining site. It's just that self